I'm 78 years old, and just a few months ago, I felt like I was slowly fading away. Not my body, but me. The woman who once laughed brightly, who stepped into a room with confidence and felt eyes turn her way. Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw a stranger, eyes clouded by time, skin dry and lifeless. Deep wrinkles etched like stories of the years gone by. I wasn't sad about aging. I was sad because I felt like I no longer mattered, as if the light inside me had been dimmed by time. One afternoon at a family gathering, an old friend mistook me for someone else. "Oh, sorry, I thought you were my mother's sister," she said with a gentle laugh. But that moment cut like a small knife in my heart. I realized I had let myself slip into a shadow of self-doubt, where I felt I wasn't worth looking at anymore. But that pain woke me up. I knew I had to do something, not to turn back the clock to my 20s, but to find myself again, to feel the joy of looking in the mirror and smiling at the woman staring back. And that's why I'm here to share my journey with you. A journey that didn't just transform my skin, but reignited the light in my soul. I discovered a simple secret, not expensive or glamorous, but one that has made me look 20 years younger and feel more alive than ever. Want to know what it is? Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to share it all. From my early mistakes, the changes I saw week by week, to how I turned a small habit into a big miracle. And if you're searching for a spark of your own, hit that like button, share this video with someone you care about, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so we can explore more ways to live radiantly together. For years, I tried everything to hold on to my skin's youth. I spent money on expensive anti-aging creams, serums with names so long I couldn't even pronounce them right. Some came in shiny boxes, smelling like perfume, making me feel like I was buying a dream. But those dreams faded fast. Some creams left my skin feeling soft for a few hours, only for it to turn dry and rough again. Others promised to erase wrinkles in days, but weeks later, I still saw the lines of time carved across my forehead, around my eyes, and near my mouth. I remember standing in front of the mirror once, touching the fragile skin under my eyes, feeling like I was touching brittle old paper. I thought, maybe this is just aging. Maybe I have to accept it. But deep inside, a part of me refused to give up, not because I wanted to look like a 30-year-old girl. No, it wasn't about vanity or wanting attention. I wanted to feel alive, to know there were still experiences to embrace, love to give, and moments to share. I recall a memory from my 40s, when I slipped into my favorite red dress and walked into a birthday party, feeling the eyes of the room on me. Not because I was the prettiest, but because I radiated confidence and vitality. I craved that feeling again, not to impress anyone, but to remind myself that I was still worthy. I started reading books, browsing online, and talking to friends. I heard about women my age who still glowed, not because they defied time, but because they cared for themselves with respect. A friend told me about her 85-year-old mother, whose skin was still smooth thanks to natural habits. "It doesn't have to be expensive," or she said, "just consistency and a little love." Those words lit a small spark in me. I knew I had to try something different, not another flashy product, but a real, down-to-earth solution that could bring change from within. One morning, I went with my son to an organic store to pick up some herbal tea. The place was peaceful with soft light, a faint smell of wood, and shelves lined with sparkling glass bottles. While my son was busy choosing tea, I paused at a small display of plant-based oils. I wasn't looking for anything, but the amber glow of those bottles caught my eye. An older woman, probably in her 80s, with silver hair neatly tied back and skin so smooth it seemed to defy her age, approached me. She smiled and asked, "Are you looking for something to nourish your skin?" I nodded shyly, sharing my frustrations with failed creams and my growing discouragement. She gave a soft laugh, pointed to a small bottle and said, "This is what I've used for over 15 years. It's not a miracle, but if you treat your skin like a friend, it will thank you." She introduced me to rosehip oil, a natural oil, affordable, not hyped by ads, but brimming with nature's power. She shared that women in the mountains of South America, especially indigenous communities in Chile, have used it for generations to heal scars, soften wrinkles, and keep their skin vibrant. Give it a try, she said, but be patient. Your skin will tell its own story. I was curious but skeptical. How could something so simple do what expensive creams couldn't? When I got home, I dug deeper. It turns out rosehip oil isn't just folklore. Science backs it up. It's rich in vitamin a natural retinol that boosts cell renewal, improves skin texture, and fades wrinkles. It also has vitamin C, a potent antioxidant that brings brightness and vitality. Most importantly, rosehip oil contains omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids, nourishing the skin deeply to keep it elastic and firm. Unlike creams that sit on the surface, this oil sinks in as if my skin recognized and welcomed it. What convinced me to try it was its simplicity. It didn't come with lofty promises or fancy packaging. It was just a small bottle, like an invitation to care for myself in the most honest way. I thought, if women centuries ago trusted it, why not give it a chance? The first night I held the bottle of rosehip oil, I sat in front of my mirror, filled with a mix of hope and doubt. I dripped a few drops onto my fingers, rubbed them on my face, and thought, is that it? That's probably enough. But I was wrong. In those early days, I made plenty of mistakes. And if you're thinking about trying this oil, I hope you'll steer clear of my missteps. My first mistake was using too much oil. I figured if 3 drops were good, 10 would be better. The result? My face felt greasy, like I'd coated it in cooking oil. I even spilled some on my pillow. And the next morning, my husband sniffed and asked, "Why does our bedroom smell like a garden?" I laughed, but that night I slept uncomfortably. And when I woke up, my skin hadn't absorbed anything. I learned that with rosehip oil, less is more. Just 3 to 5 drops are enough to nourish without overwhelming. My second mistake was not cleansing my skin properly before applying. Some nights I only rinsed my face quickly, or worse, applied the oil directly, thinking that since I didn't wear makeup, my skin was clean enough. I was wrong. Our skin collects dust, sweat, and natural oils every day. Without proper cleansing, pores are like locked doors, unable to take in the oil's nutrients. I recall one time after applying oil without washing, my skin looked duller, as if the oil was just floating on top. The third mistake, perhaps the most serious, was using the oil in the morning. I didn't know that rosehip oil can make skin more sensitive to sunlight. One day I applied it and went for my usual park walk. When I got home, my cheeks felt slightly stung, like the sun had pricked them. Luckily, no dark spots appeared, but it was a big lesson. I realized this oil is meant for nighttime, when skin rests and regenerates. Those mistakes almost made me give up. I wondered if I was wasting my time, but then I remembered the woman at the store. Be patient. Your skin will thank you. I decided to do my research, read articles, watch others' experiences, and adjust my approach. Those lessons from trial and error led me to a proper routine, opening the door to real change. After those early stumbles, I decided to do it right. I turned applying rosehip oil into a small nightly ritual, not just for my skin, but for my soul. It's not a complicated process with a dozen products. It's simple, takes less than 15 minutes, and has become a moment of self-love. I look forward to every evening. First, I cleanse my face thoroughly. I use warm water to open my pores, paired with a gentle, fragrance-free soap designed for sensitive skin. I massage my face in slow circular motions, as if washing away not just dirt, but the day's worries. Then I pat my face dry with a clean towel, gently, never rubbing, to avoid irritating my skin. Next, I prep my skin with a light water-based lotion. This layer acts like an invitation, helping my skin absorb the oil better. Then comes the star of the show, rosehip oil. I take exactly 3 to 5 drops into my palm, rubbing them gently to warm the oil. I learned that the warmth from my hands helps it sink deeper. I apply it with slow, circular motions, starting at the center of my forehead, moving to my cheeks, around my mouth, chin, and down to my neck. I avoid the area too close to my eyes to prevent irritation. As I massage, I breathe deeply, inhaling through my nose, exhaling slowly through my mouth, letting go of all tension. I added a little step I call my whisper of love. While massaging, I repeat to myself, I am worthy of this beauty. I am worthy of this care. It might sound silly, but those words remind me that I'm not just caring for my skin, I'm caring for all of me. Sometimes I play soft music, like gentle piano notes, to make the ritual even more special. My bedroom is dim, lit only by a small lamp's soft glow, creating a private sanctuary where it's just me and myself. After a few weeks, I realized this ritual wasn't just helping my skin. It helped me sleep better, feel lighter. Some nights I felt like I was talking to my skin, thanking it for carrying me through all these years. And that consistency opened the door to changes I never expected, not just in my skin, but in how I see life. Once I found the right way to use rosehip oil, I began noticing small but meaningful changes in my skin. These changes didn't sweep in like a storm, but were more like gentle drops of water soaking into parched soil, slowly bringing everything back to life. Let me take you through this journey week by week and explain why it's not just a story about my skin, but about my soul too. In the first 2 weeks, I felt a subtle difference. Each morning, my skin no longer felt tight and uncomfortable. Instead, when I touched my cheeks, there was a new softness, as if my skin had been watered after a long drought. The rough lines on my forehead started to soften, and I noticed a faint glow, ever so slight, like the flicker of a lamp at dawn. No one else saw it yet, but I did. I remember one morning while brewing coffee, I caught my reflection in the kitchen window. I paused, looked closer, and smiled. Something's happening, I thought. For the first time in years, I felt excited to see myself. By weeks 3 and 4, the changes became clearer. My skin tone looked more even, not the artificial brightness promised by creams, but a natural balance, as if my skin was rediscovering its rhythm. The small sunspots from years of exposure, those little marks on my cheeks I used to cover up, began to fade. I recall one morning during a walk in the park when a longtime friend saw me and said, "You look so refreshed today, like you just came back from a retreat." I laughed because I hadn't gone anywhere. It was just my skin telling a new story. What's more, I started sleeping better. Maybe it was the nighttime ritual or the feeling of caring for myself, but I woke up with brighter eyes, no longer weighed down by heaviness. The most memorable moment came in week 5. I was having breakfast with my 10-year-old grandson, a mischievous but observant boy. He looked at me, tilted his head, and asked, "Grandma, what did you do to look like a movie star?" I burst out laughing. Movie star sounded so charming coming from a child. "Just taking better care of myself, sweetheart," I replied. But inside, my heart bloomed. My skin wasn't just softer. The area around my eyes, once dull and fragile, felt firmer, as if infused with new life. The fine lines around my mouth softened too, as if time was being gentler with me. By week 8, the changes went beyond my skin. I found myself wanting to get out more. I signed up for a dance class for seniors, something I never would have dared before. One day, while practicing a slow waltz, the instructor looked at me and said, "You have a special energy today." I knew it wasn't just about my dance steps, but the light I was radiating. My skin was smoother, more radiant, but most importantly, I felt like I was truly living, not just existing. These small changes opened a new door, leading me to other habits that helped me rejuvenate from the inside out. Rosehip oil was the starting point, but I soon realized that rejuvenation isn't just about a bottle of oil. It's a holistic journey, caring for my body, mind, and soul. I began making small changes to my daily life, and each one felt like a piece of a puzzle, making the picture of my life more vibrant. Let me share what I did, because I believe you can apply these too to feel more alive. First, I focused on my diet. I'm no nutrition expert, but I started paying attention to what I put into my body. I added antioxidant-rich fruits to my meals, sweet blueberries, juicy strawberries, crisp apples, and glossy dark grapes. Every morning, I blend a smoothie with a handful of blueberries, a bit of plain yogurt, and a drizzle of honey. The taste feels like a cheerful greeting to the day, and I sense my body gaining energy. I read that these antioxidants protect cells from aging, and I believe they have helped my skin glow from within. Once I brought a fruit platter to a friend's gathering, and one friend laughed, saying, You look like you're eating spring itself." I smiled, but I knew she was onto something. Drinking enough water became another new habit. I used to forget to drink, sipping only when thirsty. But I learned that hydrating your skin starts with what you drink, not just creams or oils. I set a goal to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, spaced out, not all at once. I even bought a cute water bottle with a lavender flower pattern and carry it everywhere. That simple act of sipping water regularly makes me feel fresher, like my body is being nourished from the inside. Light exercise was another change. I'm not the type for marathons or gyms, but I started walking 30 minutes every morning in the park near my house. The fresh air, bird song, and soft sunlight make me feel like I'm having a conversation with nature. Some days I do gentle stretches at home to soothing violin music. I found that movement not only improves circulation, but lifts my mood and eases stiffness. One day after a walk, I caught myself standing taller in front of the mirror and realized that good posture makes my face look more radiant too. Finally, I paid more attention to sleep. I used to stay up late watching TV or worrying about things beyond my control. But I built a consistent routine. Light dinners with salads or soups, no screens at least an hour before bed, and reading a few pages of a book. I also tried a little trick, writing down 3 things that made me happy that day, like a short chat with myself. Today I smiled at a stranger, I'd write. Today I tried a new recipe. Those notes feel like a quiet medicine, helping me sleep deeper. And you know what? Good sleep works wonders on your skin. Dark circles fade, my eyes look brighter, and my face wakes up less puffy. These habits don't take much time or money, but they're like small stones, stacking together to build a path to the best version of myself. Rosehip oil can be a wonderful friend to your skin, but if used incorrectly, it can cause trouble. I learned this through my own experience and a story from a close friend. If you're thinking about trying this oil, listen to what I'm about to share to avoid unnecessary mistakes. First, never mix rosehip oil with harsh products like exfoliants, alcohol-based toners, or creams with acids like AHA or BHA. I once heard from my friend Susan about her mistake. She read somewhere that mixing rosehip oil with an alcohol toner would brighten her skin faster. The result? After 3 days, her skin was red, flaky, and she had to stop everything to let it recover. Rosehip oil is delicate, like a fragile flower. It works best on its own, without interference from strong chemicals. If you want to add other steps to your routine, give your skin a few hours rest after using the oil, and stick to gentle, non-irritating products. Second, absolutely avoid using rosehip oil during the day if you'll be out in the sun. This oil can make your skin more sensitive to sunlight, especially if applied heavily. I heard a story from my dance class friends. One woman used the oil in the morning before gardening, and after just an hour, her skin was slightly red, like a mild sunburn. Luckily, it wasn't serious, but it was a warning. Rosehip oil is meant for nighttime, when your skin rests and regenerates. For daytime protection, use a sunscreen with at least SPF 30 and save the oil for evenings. Finally, be careful about the oil's quality. Not all rosehip oils are the same. I once bought a cheap bottle from an unclear source, packaged in a clear plastic container. It smelled harsh, like stale oil, and when I applied it, my skin felt greasy with no benefits. I learned that high-quality oil must be cold-pressed, stored in a dark bottle to protect it from light, and have a mild, earthy, natural scent. I now keep my oil in the fridge, in a cool, dark place to keep it fresh longer. A quick tip: check the production and expiration dates on the bottle. If it smells odd or looks cloudy, don't use it. It might be oxidized and ineffective. These tips are simple but crucial for rosehip oil to work its magic. When you use it right, you'll not only see your skin transform, but feel a deeper change, just like I did. When I started this journey with rosehip oil, I only hoped to improve my skin, but what I gained was so much more, a version of myself I thought was gone forever. Rejuvenation, I realized, isn't just about smoothing wrinkles or brightening skin. It's the feeling of looking in the mirror and smiling, not because you look younger, but because you love the person looking back. One moment that showed me this was an invitation to a 50th wedding anniversary party for dear friends. In the past, I'd have declined, hiding behind loose clothes and excuses about being busy. But this time felt different. I stood in front of my mirror, chose a turquoise dress I'd tucked away for years, put on a simple pearl necklace, and for the first time in ages, applied light makeup. Just a touch of pink lipstick and mascara. As I walked into the party, I felt eyes on me. Not because I stood out, but because I radiated a new energy. An old friend approached and said, "You look absolutely radiant, like you're living your youth again." I smiled and replied, "Not quite youth, but me today, and I love it." That change didn't just come from softer skin or faded wrinkles. It came from how I started treating myself. I smiled more, stopped shying away from photos, and even picked up a new hobby, watercolor painting. I remember bringing my first painting, a sunflower, to class, and my teacher said, "This is as bright as you are." I realized that caring for myself didn't just change my appearance. It sparked a joy for life I thought I'd lost forever. I also found myself wanting to connect more. I called my grandkids more often, joined friends for gatherings, and even hosted a small afternoon tea at home. Each time I looked in the mirror, I didn't just see brighter skin. I saw a woman living fully, unafraid of time. For me, rosehip oil isn't just a product. It's a reminder that I deserve to be loved, cared for, and radiant at 78 or any age. Looking back on my journey, I've learned that rejuvenation isn't about turning back time. It's not about erasing wrinkles or becoming someone else. It's about choosing yourself every day, taking time to care for your body, mind, and soul, and looking in the mirror to say, "I'm still here, and I matter." Rosehip oil was my first step, a tiny bottle holding the power of nature and persistence. But what made the real difference was turning it into a loving ritual, paired with small habits like eating well, moving, and nurturing joy. I want you to know it's never too late to start. No matter your age, no matter how long you felt faded, you can choose yourself again. Try rosehip oil, but not just for your skin. Try it with patience, gratitude, and the intention to love yourself. Each drop is a reminder you deserve to shine today and always. I'd love to hear your story. In the comments, share what makes you feel radiant right now or what lesson from this video touched you. Your words will inspire me and others. And if you have ideas to make my next video even more meaningful, drop them below. Let's create beautiful moments together, okay? If you found this video helpful, please hit like, share it with someone you love, and subscribe with notifications on to catch more tips for living radiantly. Will you choose yourself today? I believe you can do it.